Hi, I'm Danny. Welcome back to another video. If your engine is idling rough or your fuel economy is taking a hit, but there's no check engine light on, don't worry. It could be something simple. One common culprit, the EGR valve. In today's video, I'll walk you through a straightforward step-by-step process to clean and maintain your EGR valve properly. The EGR valve, or exhaust gas recirculation valve, helps reduce harmful emissions by redirecting a portion of the exhaust gases back into the combustion chamber. But over time, those gases leave behind carbon buildup. The carbon buildup can clog the EGR valve and its passages. This leads to performance issues without necessarily triggering the engine light. Let's dive in and get your engine running smoother. Before I get my hands dirty, the first thing I want to do is check for diagnostic trouble codes. A simple code reader is going to work just fine, but I'm using my go-to bidirectional scan tool by a company called ThinkCar. I did a full review video on this, and I'll put a link in the description below. Now, even though you don't have an engine light on, there still might be diagnostic trouble codes stored in the computer. So if you find any codes, just make a note of it. Now let's go get that EGR off and clean it. Now to remove the EGR, pretty simple. You're going to start by pushing this tab down right here. Take your other hand and just kind of rock it out. Now there's two bolts. There's one right here, and the other one's going to be over here. Now I'm going to use a 12mm socket with an extension and a ratchet. So I'm just going to get it on there and loosen this one. I just need to loosen it a little bit. Then I'll come to the other side here and loosen this one. Now I'm just going to get my hand in there and just get the rest of it by hand. Now from here, the EGR is just going to pull right up. That's what it looks like. Here's the gasket. So my gasket's in like perfect shape, so I'm not going to replace it. But if your gasket is messed up once you take it off, you're going to have to replace it. I'll put a link in the description on a gasket for this. Now how the EGR works, the exhaust gas comes from the exhaust through this pipe into this port. Then it goes into the EGR when that valve opens, and then into this port, which goes into the engine to actually cool the engine. Believe it or not, the exhaust gas cools the engine and keeps it from pinging. Now I want to come over to these holes where the exhaust gas actually transfers through the port into the EGR into this side, and take a look inside there and see if there's a bunch of carbon buildup. Mine's actually looking pretty clean. If there is carbon buildup in there, you're going to have to pull off your pipe. There's just two bolts right here and two more down at the bottom. But mine's looking actually pretty good. So let's go check the EGR valve. Here's the EGR upside down on the vise. So this round hole right here, this was the round hole that came up from the exhaust from that tube. And then this hole here, this one went into the intake system or the engine. So if I blow air through this port right here, it's going to go nowhere until this spindle here opens. So if I take this and pull it up, you see how that opens? And that's what plugs. So what you want to do is when you pull this up, it should come up smooth and not stick. If it's sticking and allowing exhaust to get into the intake when it's not supposed to, that's going to be the problem. And then that's what we're going to clean as a maintenance item today. We're going to pick this up and we're going to clean all around here, right here. You're going to need some carburetor choke cleaner. Any brand will do. I'm using Kim Tool here, but any brand will do. Pick yourself up some brushes. I got these on Amazon. I'll put links to this stuff in the description. And what we're going to do is we're just going to take some of our carburetor cleaner, spray it right here all over the brushes, get them wet. Take our needle nose pliers. We want to lift up that pintle, and then we just want to clean it. So you want to clean all around it, and the reason we're using this nice soft brush so it doesn't scratch it and make it worse than it was with the carbon on there. Now if you notice, I'm not using anything rough on that pintle because I don't want to scratch it up or make it stick worse than it already was. So these brushes, I'll put a link to them in the description. They actually work out pretty well for cleaning this pintle. And I'll just finish it up and then we'll get back to installing it. I want to show you how smooth the pintle goes up and down now. Remember before it was binding, now it just pulls straight up, goes straight down. Big difference. Now I'm going to put the EGR back on. It goes this way. Here's the connector. My gasket is still on there. If you need a new gasket, I'll have one in the link for Amazon. Go ahead and just put it on, put your connector in, and then your 2 bolts. Get those on finger tight. And once they're on, let me get a torque wrench, and then we'll torque them down. The mounting nuts for the EGR are calling for 16 foot-pounds. I'm using the Ampuds torque wrench. I did a review video on this. I'll put a link in the description, but this has been working out pretty good for about a year now. Now the last thing I need to do before I take this on a long road test is check for codes. There shouldn't be any, but sometimes when you have the key on and you disconnect the connectors, some codes will appear. And I want to get rid of those before I go out and road test it, because I'm going to check for codes again after my road test. If there's codes, I'll get back with you. If not, this is the end of the video. So read the fault codes. No trouble codes. I hope you found today's video helpful. If you did, give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more do-it-yourself auto tips. You'll find links to everything that I talked about and used in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Don't wanna